Christopher Mfazi, cadre of the oldest African movement. Sindile Christopher Mfazi, son of the late Tat'u Mthetheleli Hubert and Lawukazi Deborah Mfazi, was born on the 5th of May in 1962, Tsolo in East London, and he was the sixth of the 7 children. Nanyi, as he was affectionately called, attended his foundation phase of his schooling at Tumisa Lower Primary, Gobani Higher Primary, and later Wongaletu Senior Secondary. When his age mates were busy and excited with boxing, Comrade Pitso was attracted to politics. Nanyi's first political orientation was in 1979 during the formation of COSAS. Thanks to the ANC veterans, the tried and tested cadres of the movement around Mdantsane, like Papa Joe, Tat'u Msaule, and Babu Solwandle, most of them who were banished in Mdantsane and unknowingly to the South African apartheid regime, were breeding a vibrant underground terrain for the ANC rebirth and renewal. The continued interaction with these ANC veterans assisted a great deal in shaping and positioning Comrade Pitso in acquiring an old age tradition of the ANC discipline. Because of his continued harassment by the security branch, he discontinued his schooling after passing Standard 9 in 1981, for the schools became the hunting ground of the security branch as they could not find Pitso at home. Around January in 1982, during one of his many political rounds in Port Elizabeth, which was his regular exercise, Pitso, who was only 19 years old at the time, had his first encounter with the notorious gang of the Sanlam Security Branch Police, Abotungata, Duplessis, Smuts, Harting, Nivote, and Rulofse. He was one of the comrades rounded by the security branch at Sispinki and Tatunkanunu's house in Masangwane in New Brighton, together with several of his Port Elizabeth comrades. This arrest coincided with a very successful workers' strike at Wilson Roundtree in East London. During the processing of these comrades at the Sanlam Notorious SB offices, the system detected that 2 comrades were from Utenake and East London, something that really infuriated the security police. They were not impressed that the 2 comrades were not from Port Elizabeth. As a result, they got the lion's share of the beating that night and were accused of trying to mobilize the workers in Port Elizabeth to embark on solidarity strike. The beating started around 6 o'clock in the evening and went on until the early hours of the morning. At dawn, they were releasing these comrades. The time was around 1 a.m. They noticed that the police assigned to drive them home was driving towards Grahamstown instead of KwaZakele. At the hiking spot near Grahamstown off-ramp after passing Carbon Black Factory, the police told Pitso to disembark from the car and start to hike back to Mdantsane and never come back to Port Elizabeth again. The rest of the comrades got out of the police van as they were not prepared to abandon Pitso at the hiking spot at that time. At this point, the police ordered all of them to get back on the van, including Comrade Pitso. All the comrades were dropped at KwaZakele near Moscow. Again, Pitso and Mnyamezeli boy were told never to come back to Port Elizabeth. Because he was a stubborn fighter, Pitso continued his stay in Port Elizabeth and interacted with the COSAS comrades and its president, Comrade Wantu Zenzile, who was in Port Elizabeth at the time. During this period, Pitso was a COSAS leader and a link between Port Elizabeth and the former Ciskei. Because of the addictive nature of the struggle, Comrade Pitso graduated from the student politics and started getting involved in the underground activities of the ANC, a fact we got to know much later. That again attracted the attention of the security branch, even though he was never detected. The security police raided Comrade Pitso's home frequently, as if they knew that he had graduated from the student politics to even bigger things. Because he was well trained even at that early age, Pitso was very disciplined and outwitted the system. By this time, Pitso had mastered the art of military combat work long before he did its formal training, thanks to comrades like Charles Ngakula and Papa Joe, who orientated him in these military combat tactics and techniques. The senior comrades detected that the circle was closing. They instructed Pitso to pursue the politics by other means. Comrade Pitso then left for exile to join MK in 1984. He completed his basic military training in Lulama, Angola in 1985. After the training, he was deployed in Pango to train and prepare MK cadres assigned to infiltrate South Africa. This was the time of intense skirmishes in Angola. Savimbi bandits assisted the racist South African army against the formidable MK, MPLA, and the Cuban forces. Many books talk of how the enemy forces were annihilated during these military engagements and maneuvers. Once again, those who shared the trenches with Comrade Pitso during these skirmishes will testify about his bravery and his commanding abilities. He consistently led from the front. He demonstrated good qualities of a very good tactician. Every mission entrusted to Comrade Pitso by the ANC and MK, rest assured, it was executed diligently and with distinction. In 1987, Comrade Pitso was sent to Cuba for the specialization course in weaponry and tactics. After this program, Pitso was off to Tanzania for Commandos military training in 1988. He then joined the Department of Intelligence and Security, becoming the head of the department in the ANC camp in Tanzania. In all tasks he was assigned in exile, Comrade Pitso continued to excel, and once again, this attracted the attention of the South African Communist Party. At some point, Comrade Pitso was responsible for the safety of Babu Moses Mabhida, the leader of the African National Congress and the South African Communist Party. During this period, Pitso worked very closely with Comrade Chris Hani, a Communist Party member himself. When Pitso came back from exile, he was deployed as a protector for the then Secretary General of the South African Communist Party, Comrade Charles Nqakula. It was during this period when his elder sister, who was a teacher at the time, encouraged him to complete his matric, which he did in 1993. 10 years down the line, Pitso met and fell in love with Malindi in 2003. They got married on the 16th of December 2010, and their marriage was blessed with two beautiful boys, Guguletu and Luto. The way this relationship started blossoming is a good script for a bestseller, but this is a story for another day. Pastor Dituksu, who married them 11 years ago, meant it when he said, "Till death do them part." Today, Pastor Dituksu is here performing Pitso's final rites. Comrade Pitso never looked back in the direction of acquiring academically. He completed an advanced project management diploma and a project management qualification. His studies were disrupted by his untimely passing. In 1994, he was deployed in the Eastern Cape and joined the management of the VIP unit in 1996. During this period, he worked very closely with Umre, the Eastern Cape Premier at the time, and this deployment continued until he amalgamated into South African Police Service Criminal Intelligence in 1998. The irony of it all is that Comrade Pitso eventually became the manager of his tormentors in the post-apartheid South Africa, and at no stage did he remind them of his personal encounters, characterized by his systematic beatings and torture. Comrade Sindile Mfazi started being noticed in the police service, as Comrade Mbalula amply postulated in his well-penned tribute entitled Radio Call. He would know this because he was his minister. Comrade Mbalula says in his tribute, quote, "Pitso became an exemplary figure in the rank and file of the police," close quote. From the physical front lines of combating crime and keeping South Africans safe, he was indeed a reliable officer. Before his appointment as the Deputy National Commissioner, an appointment Comrade Fikile Mbalula supported as his minister, Comrade Pitso led the crime intelligence in the Eastern Cape with distinction. Because of the gang-related crimes in the Western Cape, his arrow pointed in that province, and he did well in turning around the province dramatically until his promotion to the office of the National Deputy Commissioner, the responsibility he assumed from 2019 until his untimely demise on the 8th of July 2021. Those who worked closely with him will tell of how his immediate supervisor, National Commissioner Kehla Sithole, and those who reported to him will certainly miss him. Comrade Sindile always knew it was nice to be important, but he believed it was more important to be nice. He always surrounded himself with ordinary men and women, something that puzzled many, given his power and authority that never got into his head. He remained humble until his last breath, a mere mortal that left behind immortal memories because of his work. This is the portrait of an MK cadre, a patriot who authored his life in service to nationhood, spurred by integrity, in the quest to contribute towards the making of the greater South Africa. A direct response from a call by one of greatest educators and a legal guru, Horace Mann, who is known by many of his profound quotations, such as, quote, "Be ashamed to die until you have won some victory for humanity," close quote. Until he was recalled to the world beyond the skies and our horizon, Comrade Pitso subscribed to this mantra. So many families across South Africa have breadwinners today, thanks to General Mfazi. He has won so many victories. His passing has robbed the multitudes of South Africans. Like dominoes, their dreams will drop and become dim. The void by his untimely demise will be difficult to fill. It is to tell the truth when we say Comrade Pitso leaves behind a record in our struggle and renewal program, which will be surpassed by few. He was certainly a seasoned cadre of outstanding qualities. To say his death has struck our government and the ANC a blow is no exaggeration. We will certainly miss his jokes, laughter, and his seriousness at the same time. General Mulangi Mphego summarized General Sindile Mfazi so appropriately.
My very first face-to-face encounter with Pitso was here at home around 1993. This was at a time that I was in charge of a small ordnance operation around the Braamfontein area that many of our operations had come to rely on. It was not a good meeting at all. I had earlier on received instructions from the late Comrade Africa Khumalo to expect Pitso at my barber shop, as it were. When Pitso eventually arrived, the fellow just flatly refused to be verified through our normal vetting protocols that we had developed in an attempt to minimize our vulnerability to the ever-roving eye of the security branch. His bravado loomed large. His barking in the neck still echo loud in my ears to this day. Chin, Ikodian, Dingu Pitso. Who are you, comrade? Kutheni ungandazi? Of course, I retaliated with my own bout of bravado, openly declaring that he was not getting anything from my barber shop unless he complied. After all, I thought, who did this short man think he was to come to my sector and dare embarrass me in front of my two croissants who were part of the ordnance machinery? Well, as you may suspect, I was wrong, and indeed I eventually lost the round to Pitso when suddenly I received a message from Africa to the effect that Comrade Lucky McKee was threatening to strangle our supply line because I was not acceding to Pitso's demand, a situation that we could ill afford at the time. So Pitso won the day, got his tools, and made sure to rub the incident in my eyes so that, as he put it, I shouldn't forget who he was. This intense encounter with Pitso was the very first time I met and experienced not only the sheer arrogance of Pitso, but the unwavering determination of a man who will do whatever it takes to accomplish his mission. This was indeed the moment that our hearts began to beat as one, and Comrade Pitso would later on become my pillar of strength in the subsequent deployments that brought us even closer to each other. A relationship that was suddenly interrupted by the sudden and unexpected events of Thursday the 8th of July, a day in which I lost part of myself. Go well, Kerila Lomkhonto. Go well, my brother.
Comrade Sindile Mfazi literally fell on his post. Few hours from one of his Western Cape missions, his spear just dropped down in the middle of the battle to rid our beautiful country of corruption, general crime, and lawlessness, things that he detested the most. If we really acknowledge and noticed his footprints, picking up his fallen spear will be the logical thing to do. That will be the best send-off that he will embrace even beyond the skies. Because he was a communist, Comrade Pitso knew that life continues even after one's death. To the generals, NASCOM, Deputy Minister and our Minister, Comrade Pitso expects nothing less. Let us join the President in his quest of building a crime-free South Africa with a better life for all. Our prayers are with his family. It is going to be difficult for his wife to comprehend Pitso's exit. No one can ever understand that sudden transition. As Africans, we usually trust in the ritual of closing the eyes of our dead and believe that it is an opportunity to have ours opened by the departed souls. COVID has deprived our sister Malindi to perform this ritual. Sindile loved his family. This may sound like a cliche, but to him, it was second nature, breathing being his first. Comrade Sindile Christopher Mfazi is survived by his wife Nompumelelo, affectionately called Malindi by his late husband, 2 sons Guguletu and Luto, 2 sisters Nontembiso and Lulama, his brother Ntsikelelo, and many nephews and nieces. Hamba kahle, livulekile izulu nozulu. Sizivile izingqi zakho, ndlebenhle zombini mchumane. Uwile umthomkhulu Cocobe. Sibamba ngazo zozibini mpafane. Rest in peace, Pitso. Go well, guerrilla lomkhonto. Beloved son, husband, father, uncle, comrade, sibali, friend, colleague, leader. Amandla.